And hello and welcome to Open, the Waterloo show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm Daren, Jaime, and today we'll update you on what's happening in and around our borough as well as across New York City. Coming up, we'll discuss how an organization is developing and implementing special education services for individuals with brain injury and brain-based disorders. And we'll speak with two recipients of CRNY Artist Employment Program. What does that mean? Creative Rebuilds New York? We'll tell you more about that later on in the show. Later, we'll learn how one person is redefining what it means to give back and invest in the community. We'll introduce you to a very special young man. And then we'll discuss a pain management series addressing the silent mysteries of pain permeating society, causing increased addiction, anxiety, and depression. And finally, we'll learn about an exhibition exploring the ways photography conjures absence to represent time, memory loss, and erasure. So stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way because right now, we're officially open. And hello, everyone. I'm Daren Jaime. You are now watching Open, a live program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers to the Manhattan Neighborhood Network as Open is being broadcast simultaneously on Eminence channels. Now, you can stay connected to us on all of our social media platforms at BronxNet TV. And, of course, we'll be glad to stay connected with you. Well, some things have been going on through the past week. We'll take you through it with our Bronx updates. We begin with community news. Resident physicians rallied outside of Montefiore Medical Center demanding recognition for their union amidst Bronx clinic closures and increased healthcare worker shortages. Our BronxNet reporter, Jonathan Calixto, has more details.
I'm both grateful for and inspired by each and every intern, resident, and fellow who took the time to sign a union card. And I extend a heartfelt thank you to all supporters of this union within the Montefiore system and Bronx community. Montefiore is better, union strong.
Resident physicians rallied outside of Montefiore Medical Center to demand recognition for their union amid Bronx clinic closures and increased healthcare worker shortages. Dr. Nikita Mortimer, a medical resident, shares why today marks a big step for this community.
Today is a very special day because today we're announcing our union. The medical residents and fellows at Monty want administration to voluntarily recognize our union.
During the pandemic, many of these local physicians were the frontline heroes assisting the Bronx community. Registered nurse at Montefiore Medical Center Judy Sheridan Gonzalez shares how these local heroes are the voice not just for healthcare, but also for their patients.
We had the highest COVID infection and death rates in the state, possibly in the world, when COVID really hit. And our frontline caregivers and providers really need a voice. We speak for our patients, we speak for our profession. We really speak for this hospital to be able to provide the best care possible for the patients who need it the most. And we're seeing that that is not the case, that Montefiore, like many institutions, is putting profits ahead of patients. And we don't think that profits and making money has any place in healthcare. What needs to be in healthcare is putting the patient first.
As the last hospital in the Bronx to not be part of a union, Dr. Jim Yang, an emergency room doctor at Montefiore Medical Center and Jacoby Medical Center, feels honored to stand beside colleagues, patients, and Bronx residents for this historic demand.
Montefiore is the last hospital in the Bronx to not be a part of a resident union, and having a joint effort for all of us to stand together and fight for what's needed, and fight for our benefits and fight for our rights so we can advocate for our patients is so important. And it's such an honor to be here.
With over 1,200 Montefiore resident physicians fighting for this recognition, it truly shows that despite having different roles, they are all fighting the same fight. Reporting for BronxNet, Jonathan Calixto.
And thank you, Jonathan. We, of course, will continue to follow the story right here on Open. In other news, Citizens Bank presented the Military Warrior Support Foundation with a grant, as well as awarded the first winner of their Hopes for Heroes program. Our Bronx Net reporter, Brittany Schuyler-Albane, has a story.
We are here at Citizens Bank in the Crosby section of the Bronx with the Military Warrior Support Foundation, where one former U.S. Army specialist and now founder is about to get the reward of a lifetime.
It's really important to us as a company that we are here to support the communities that we operate in, and this is one early way that we can give back to the Bronx.
On behalf of Citizens Bank, the Military Warrior Support Foundation received a $300,000 grant to continue funding the Hope for Heroes program. The Hope for Heroes program assists veteran-owned businesses in all aspects of technology and financial management.
We've got a very distinct focus, particularly on veterans, and so as we've entered New York City over the last 12 months and all of the surrounding suburbs, it was important to us to really give back locally.
The first winner of this grant was Marisa Estrella, who, after being honorably discharged, wanted to continue to help veterans. Her nonprofit business, Worldwide Veterans and Family Services, was founded in 2015. Since then, it has fulfilled its mission of providing transitional and permanent housing for veterans and their families and helping veterans receive access to food and other necessities.
In our economy, as we're going through some uncertainties right now, it's just such a wonderful thing that they're doing in order to help others, make it from day to day.
As a part of her grant, Estrella was also awarded a 2023 Ford Transit Cargo with 1 year of commercial insurance, 1 year financial mentorship, 2 laptops, an all-in-one printer, accounting software, and a $1,000 gas card. Estrella remained shocked and at a loss for words during the ceremony, but she mentioned that this was only the beginning and she plans to take advantage of this assistance to multiply her business.
Right now, we hope that we can open worldwide veteran family services in each state. We almost have like 5 already working on, and we are already in the Dominican Republic already because they have 25,000 veterans living over there from here.
If you're a veteran who was honorably discharged, own a business in Bronx County, and are interested in receiving assistance, the application is still open, so follow the link below. Reporting for BronxNet, Brittany Schuyler-Albane.
Great story there. Thank you, Brittany, and congratulations to Marissa. We thank her for her service and all of our veterans. Listen, that's all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We are taking a quick break, but we will have more open when we return.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
And welcome back. iBRAIN ensures that students with brain injury and brain-based disorders access to a highly specialized educational opportunity that's based on their individual needs. We're pleased now to have us giving more details is the Director of Professional Continuing Education at iBRAIN, Dr. Peter Henry. And Dr. Henry, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you. And when we talk about iBRAIN, obviously, y'all know you got to be very excited. This new launch is getting ready to take place. But for our viewers, somebody who may not know all about it, give us a little bit of insight into iBRAIN.
So iBRAIN, our mission is to serve students and families, right? The students suffer from brain-based disorders or brain injuries and a range of other disabilities. And our mission is essentially to research, to innovate, to kind of make sure that we are serving parents, right? We are making sure that the children are getting everything they need. And so it's really about building resources for staff, for families, for communities, for the students, and just in this new launch that's coming up, being able to serve the broader professional network and collaborate so that the mission that we have and the vision we have to change the world of rehabilitation kind of definitely comes, to pass. So we're super, super excited. And I can't wait to tell you more about it.
Yeah, so as we talk about it, it deals with rehabilitation, right? There's going to be a new launch that takes place in January. But for somebody who wants to know more about that rehabilitation process and what iBRAIN will be bringing out, share with us.
So the new launch that's coming in January is for our postgraduate and continuing education training program. And so in my role, I'm currently working with experts, right, in the field of special education, rehabilitation, brain injury, brain-based disorders, innovation, technology-based research, working with a range of different experts to develop courses and trainings so that we can help others in the community learn more, help parents, give them resources. And essentially, we want to improve the quality of life for individuals with various special needs. And so this postgraduate continuing education program is not just going to be for professionals in the field, right, or related service providers or special education teachers, but also for families, right, for caregivers in general. And so what we're trying to do is empower families, empower professionals, so that essentially when they're serving this population that we care so very deeply about, they feel empowered to do that, and they're on track with all the changes that are constantly happening in the world. And we will be focused, like I said, on research and innovation as well. And so because our mission is to research, develop, and implement special education related services and technology for children and students, and even adults, actually, with brain injury and brain-based disorders, our postgraduate program, is hopefully going to foster that kind of collaboration and partnerships that we want to build with various organizations, and so that even universities, right? So that anyone who's interested in the work we're doing, they can have a foothold in using our program, right? As we serve them and even partner with them to kind of educate the public. Right, this is brain-based disorders and brain injuries. They are really very, very important, and it's not, I think, talked about enough, right? And so at iBRAIN, the work we're doing is really, really important, and we want to foster that interdisciplinary practice and kind of make sure that we're offering those opportunities to the broader community to help move the world of rehabilitation forward. Yeah. So we're going to find our niche for sure as we launch next year.
And as we talk about finding your niche, we know that this is an accredited program. So people who are going to be taking part in the accredited program. And as far as your teachers are concerned, what kind of professionals will you have in the teaching environment?
So I do want to touch real quick on the accreditation. I realize I haven't mentioned. So we are recently accredited by the International Accreditors for Continuing Education, that's IACET, as of November. And so we are I'm working with a range of related service providers and other experts in the field. So neuropsychologists, right? Our vision teachers, our occupational therapists, our physical therapists. We have assistive technologists at iBRAIN who are really, really just into the work that we're doing and really passionate about it. And so all these services that we offer at iBRAIN, we have experts from those fields, but we're always open to bringing in also guest lecturers from different universities that we are affiliated with and will be affiliated with. And so even lawyers, right? Because a part of what we do here at iBRAIN is advocacy, right? For families, for children with brain-based disorders and brain injuries. And so even working with lawyers to kind of teach and empower families as well. So it's not just going to be, like I said, professionals, but every expert that we work with comes from a range of fields, but all those fields have to connect to our mission to change the world of rehabilitation, but also to empower families and to empower individuals with brain injuries and brain-based disorders.
How do we get people involved right now? If somebody's out there watching saying, listen, this is something I want to take part in, what is the process for them getting enrolled and getting connected?
Perfect. So that's an awesome question. Glad you asked. So we will launch in January, mid-January fully. But if you want to get involved right now, you can visit iBRAINNYC.org. There will be a link in January to our program, but please also feel free to email me at ceuinfo@iBRAINNYC.org. So that's ceuinfo@iBRAINNYC.org. And again, the link will be on our main website at iBRAINNYC.org. And so you'll be able to, if you want to sign up, we currently do have free pilot courses available, but again, the full launch is in January, and we're super excited. So if you want to be a learner, or if you are in research or innovation and you want to maybe be a guest lecturer with us, right? Reach out to me. And again, ceuinfo@iBRAINNYC.org or phenry@iBRAINNYC.org. All my information is on our main site. So that's where you can go to find any information. Our number is also there. You can give us a call, and we'd be happy to speak to anyone interested and give them next steps.
I know you're excited as January is right around the corner, and certainly the doors will be open for you to have an opportunity to meet students and students to meet you to take part in this very empowering program. But I want to talk for a second about your goal, because as people take part in this program, obviously, you want them to have a certain takeaway. What's the takeaway that you're looking for those who participate in the program?
Yeah, so we're going to offer both in-person and online courses. And since our vision for iBRAIN's postgraduate continuing education program, it was started by Dr. Victor Pedro, who's our Chief Innovation Officer, and our CU, Patrick Donahue. And so the vision that they have is, and that, you know, I've been lucky enough to be brought on to lead this team, is to provide learning, research, and innovation opportunities, right, in the rehabilitation and professional development training space. So our goal within 3 to 5 years is that we will also be accredited by other organizations, right? And so hopefully by ASHA, OSHA, right, all those organizations getting accreditation so that we can push out even more content and reach a larger target audience. Because to change the world, right, you have to reach a larger audience. So that's a part of our mission, and we want to grow our affiliations and sponsorships. But our goal within, say, 3 to 5 years is to have over 1,500 plus on-demand courses, and there are also going to be in-person courses, webinars, and new weekly courses pushed out. And so a learner who signs up to take classes for with our program, with our postgraduate continuing education program, right? They're getting not only the opportunity to continue their education, right, but they're going to have resources. They are going to have opportunities to be involved in the research that we're doing, right? They're going to have opportunities to share ideas with us that they have for innovation in the world, in the field of rehabilitation. And so getting involved with us and with this program, it's really about strengthening and empowering everyone and making sure that overall the quality of life for this population that we're also invested and passionate about serving is better at every step. Yeah. So that's really where we are right now.
Dr. Peter Henry, we got to leave it there, but thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Peter Henry is the Director of Professional and Continuing Education at iBRAIN, and congratulations, the full launch taking place in January, and we're excited for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. All right, well, we want to let you know if you want more information, you can visit the website at iBRAINNYC.org, and of course, follow them on Instagram at iBRAINNYC. We encourage you don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open coming up right after this.
Dear moms and dads, what you have achieved here today is going to help us and our futures. It is why we are coming up on stage to collect your diplomas.
You know it's true.
Mom, we love you always.
Everything I do.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
And we are back. CRNY's Artist Employment Program is a 2-year program that's funding employment for 300 artists working in collaboration with community-based organizations across New York State. And BronxNet is proud to be one of these organizations working with artists on creating their original programs. And joining us to share more details, we've got screenwriter, producer Jasmine P. White, and filmmaker and founder of Anabach Studios. We've got Kobina the Graft Johnson. And thank y'all both for joining us.
Hey, Daren, thanks for having us.
Glad to have you. Exciting time for you guys, huh?
Super exciting time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go a little bit and talk about Creative Rebuild New York and what's going on there.
So with Creative New York, it's a program where they support an artist because they wanted to be able to fund artists so they could focus on their craft. So that's their program that they have. Now, fortunately for us, BronxNet, we have a collaboration with them, and CRNY is funding this project. So now we are in a position to create content with BronxNet.
Right. And I want to get Jasmine in to talk about your content because you come from a great history and talk about your history and where you are today.
Yeah, so I've actually been in entertainment for about 7 years now. I started off in advertising, and then I was lucky enough to transition to Lifetime, and I worked there in programming and development. I've had the opportunity to work on things like Surviving R. Kelly, Mahalia, Married at First Sight on the unscripted side. And, I was just saying while I was there and working on the side, I was like, executive so-and-so, how do I start writing? How do I get to the other side of this process? And they were like, you kind of have to Issa Rae your way into the game because we all know Issa changed everything for creatives. And so I took that opportunity to heart and I just started producing my own content.
And for yourself, a filmmaker, you've been doing this for about 7 years, you said?
About 7 years as well, yeah.
And there's something about being able to tell your own story.
Right.
What's that like for you, and what are you hoping that people can do and take from that?
It's an amazing time because I remember, watching movies because, I love movies, but watching movies, you get initially you get a lot of movies overseas, because I come from Ghana, so every movie you watch was from overseas. Back in the day, the cost of production to make a film was so high, we couldn't afford it. But now it's at a place where it's affordable. So we have young filmmakers coming from the country that want to tell their own stories, and we just want to be able to share our stories and show the world what Ghana is about through film.
For yourself, Jasmine, obviously, you did I should say that you had some work on digital series Hotline as well.
Yes.
And so when you look at some of the work that you've done and where you are today, talk to us about how that parlays in where we are today.
Yes, so Hotline was a passion project of mine. I was at a point in my life where I was like, I kind of want to move to LA, but I kind of now know I have to Issa Rae my way in. Everyone I know, including Kobina, is in New York. So I was like, okay, let me take my savings and put it into producing this project. And from there, we were able to shoot enough to get a trailer. And then I had to crowdfund, and over 300 people gave me over $15,000 to produce the series. So we went on to produce. We got caught up in the pandemic, but God willing, we made it to the other side. And the show now is on Amazon Prime, and it's also going to Revolt in 2023.
What's that feel like for you? Obviously putting your work forward, you guys, here you go, Amazon Prime, Revolt. Here you are, filmmaker, getting it out there and going, and to see your work actually be out there. Many times people see everybody else's. Now people have an opportunity to see yours. What's that feeling like?
It's very empowering because you get to really put your work out there. And I think the times that we are in, we need to empower the creatives so they're able to really, go out there and create the work and put it out there for everybody to enjoy it as well.
And so a little bit about the film.
So there's several projects that are, currently working on. The project that we are working on with BronxNet is called Stressed. And it really is about this young Gen Z millennial that is navigating her way through Bronx. And Jasmine is our amazing writer. She's going to go deep in to, break it down for you.
Yeah, so Stressed is about Ashanti Bonsu. She's a first-generation Ghanaian American. And she is everything hashtag Black Girl Magic, Black excellence online. Right. But in real life, she's kind of a hot mess, mattress on the floor type of chick, just trying to grind it out and make it any way possible. And I think that it'll be relatable for a lot of people who see this glitz and glamour on Instagram, but don't get to see what's really going on behind the scenes. So within Stress, we'll explore Shanti's mental health. We'll explore the impact social media has on people, like the pressure it puts on us to live this glamorous life. And honestly, just being Ghanaian and then choosing this like unconventional path. Like for a lot of Africans, what is it? It's lawyer, engineer, doctor, or disgrace, and Ashanti has chosen disgrace, you know, for her family.
Right.
So she kind of feels like she has to grind it out and make sure that she pops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have a great African population here in the borough of the Bronx.
Right.
And talk to us about your excitement just being able to reach that population, amongst others, in New York City.
I think it's a great time because, you know, obviously I'm Ghanaian and I'm excited about this project because we've seen stories, but we just haven't seen our story on that scale. So I think this is what we didn't know we wanted. You know, when it comes to fruition, we would watch it and be able to come together behind this project because it's really talking about living in the Bronx, experiencing the Bronx from our POV. So it's super, super exciting times.
Jasmine, about being that writer, right? I think many times we focus a lot on being in front of the camera, right? Or I gotta be that Issa, right? That you know that's gonna be in front. But the reality is there's more power sometimes being behind the scenes.
Yes, definitely. And for my first show, I had to be on screen, and editing was really painful. I'm like, oh my God. You know, I definitely know that my passion is behind the scenes and creating these characters and creating these worlds. And also for me, it's just really important to put people in front of the camera that normally don't get to be there. So for #Stressed, it's really important to me that the main character is a plus-size Black woman. And we get to see her be happy and have friends and have a love life, you know? And the show is not about her body.
Right.
You know?
Even though we talk about watching, you don't always see plus-size people as the lead, but yeah, you're taking that narrative and you're moving with that. A message in that?
It's just there's room for everyone. You know, there's room for everyone to shine. So we just have amazing people around us, and we work with who, you know, is in our circle. Not circle, but who we see around us every day. Yeah, the everyday person.
Yeah. What message would you want to pass on to people who are really thinking about getting involved in the industry, right? Because we know that it could be up, it could be down. You've had experience, and you know you guys are really in the trenches now. Talk to us about how somebody,
we deep.
Yeah, real deep, right?
Yeah.
You know, but for somebody that's out there watching, thinking about doing this, what advice do you give them?
I was actually just talking to another friend of mine who's like a similar path to me, and I was like, you know, honestly, friend, you gotta be crazy to decide that I'm gonna devote my life to being an artist. So I would say that if you're gonna go down this path, you need to really love it. It needs to be a passion of yours, something that you would do for free, because you will be doing it for free for many years, you know?
Right.
So that's what I say.
I would say, to add to what Jasmine said, you know, I've come to understand that art is easy to create. How to market it, how to distribute it is where the challenges come in. So now on the flip side, if you feel like you want to be an artist, whatever your art in, study the business side of it on how to be able to progress with what you have, not, you know, versus, you know, an imaginary budget. So work with what's in your pocket, you know, pretty much, and work with that and progress from there.
All right, Kobina, Jasmine, thank you so much for being with us. Congratulations.
No, thank you for
having us.
having
Looking forward to
us.
seeing more, and gotta come back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daren.
All right. Well, listen, if you want to donate now, yeah, that's true. We got to donate to the
Yes,
project. You can donate to the project, right?
Yes,
All right, cool. So let me help you out. If you want to donate to their project, you can do that. All you got to do is visit the website at bronxnet.org/donate /CRNY-artists. And guess what? You can donate to the project and see where your money goes. We encourage you to don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open coming up right after this.
Hey, boss. Okay.
I said I'm fine.
Put me to bed, see you in the morning. With the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it. And we lost it.
You can talk to me.
It's been really, really hard for me.
And hello, everyone, and welcome back. Guess what? Whether you have an overabundance of some sort or you merely have things that you can use, donating makes an immediate difference in other people's lives. Our next guest is actually redefining what it means to give back and to invest in the community around them. And joining us now to share more details is the founder of Darnell Cares and philanthropist Darnell Liburd. And thank you so much for joining us.
How you doing, Daren? Thank you
I'm
for
good,
having
man.
me.
Good to have you, man.
Appreciate it.
So, talk to me about this here. You've got philanthropy going. You're giving back. You got Darnell Cares. How did this all come about?
So my name is Darnell, and my friends always telling me, like, you always have a giving heart and willing to give back. And Darnell really cares. So I just put the two together and formed Darnell Cares. But how it actually started is I had a conversation with my mom. I had a bunch of clothes that I needed to give away at home. And she was like, oh, you got to get these clothes out of my house. And I was like, I will. I'll take care of it. But I wasn't too fond of giving to the Salvation Army because they actually resell your clothes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to actually place them on the backs of others. And why not to start here in my community? So I put out a tweet on Twitter. And I said, hey, does anybody else have any clothes to give away? Like, so do I. And got a large outpour, and everybody wanted to give back. So just went from there. So started with a tweet and took off.
And there you go, and then it goes from there.
There it goes.
So as I see, and we see some pictures right there, talk to us a
Definitely.
little bit about where you are today, because you're doing some partnership right now with Beyond the Block, and a not-for-profit organization that's taking your stuff to another level too, huh?
Most definitely. So Darnell Cares started with a clothing drive, as you can see. It starts at the end of the summer. It goes all the way until mid-September. And I wanted to do more. So how other ways can I give back? And then to collab with other nonprofit organizations and Beyond the Block, like you mentioned. Actually met the founder on Twitter as well. Her name is Bianca, and she reached out to me, and I said, hey, let's partner. So we had this idea to have our first annual Thanksgiving drive, where we had some perishable items, purchased turkeys, which were donated monetary awards from our friends to give back, and we were on Flatbush, I believe, in Brooklyn. I'm a Bronx guy, so don't quote me, but we were on Flatbush Avenue in Brooklyn from the train station, and we handed it out to those who need it. So, it was a great way to give back this holiday season.
So what's it been like for your friends? I mean, here you are, you're trying to do this, get this out here. I want to give back, put things on people's backs. Sometimes you reach out to your friends and it's like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
What was it like for you?
I think it's based on my personality, the type of person I am. I have a big heart. I was always raised that way. So they're not surprised, to be honest. Like, I have a great support system. About over 6,000 followers on Instagram. So like they understand my giving heart and they want to give back. So it's nothing to drop a flyer into a group chat and the donations start pouring in, whether it's Cash App or Zelle. So, I appreciate my friends. They're always here to support me, so I love that.
So if somebody wants to help to donate right now, what do they go about doing?
Definitely. They can follow me on Instagram at Darnell Cares on Instagram. Reach out to me on Twitter as well, and we can donate from there.
Yeah. So what's been the big highlight for you so far? I mean, you've got a lot going on, but talk to us about what's really put the gas in your tank.
Definitely. So right now it's been a clothing drive. I donate the clothes to Bowery Mission in Soho, New York. So just seeing the smiles on the faces of the people that you're actually donating to, like, that warms my heart every year. And, the ongoing contributions that I'll be able to give to the community and the future collaborations. So, definitely stay tuned. Follow me at Darnell Cares on Instagram, and we can go from there.
You made it your life's mission right now, right?
Definitely.
To think about giving back to the community. Talk to me about your inspiration in terms of doing that, and why do you feel it's important?
It's very important to give back because people always ask me why, Darnell, and I say, why not? I'm blessed. I have a good job, a roof over my head, and clothes on my back. So why not give to others? You know what I mean? So if I have the ability to do it, so others can as well. And I just want to inspire one person. If somebody sees this interview, if somebody sees these pictures, somebody sees these videos, they'll get inspired. Say, hey, I could do that.
Right.
Like, he looks like me, and I want to inspire the youth. So, I'm from the Bronx, New York. I grew up here, went to school here, and I just want to inspire that one kid, that one boy, that one girl, so that they can, be the fruits of their labor for their community and give back.
I want to talk about 5 acts of kindness.
Yes.
In honor of your father.
Yeah, so my dad's birthday is on Valentine's Day, so I wanted to honor his name and give back. So what I reached out to 5 friends who are owners of their own businesses. My friend, he has a fitness training, a facial, full body massage. I'm missing 2 right now. They'll come back to me. But I wanted to reach out to them and see how I can give back. So what happened was they were like, well, Darnell, I'm all on board, free of charge. So I reached out to social media. I made a reel. And I said, hey, listen, I'm doing this in the honor of my father. I want you to nominate one person that you want to provide this random act of kindness to, and it's free of charge. You can nominate one person, and that way they'll be able to give back. So we had 5 winners, and they were all able to receive their acts of service, and I'll take it from there. So I'll make it an annual thing, ongoing, maybe change up the businesses so that the acts of kindness is not reused, but most definitely so.
If anybody wants to know where he gets his heart from, he's a fellow Rice man. We
Definitely,
graduated from Rice High School. We Rice
bonded
man. Yeah,
as
we
soon
got
as
that
we
right.
get
Yeah,
to-
it is. That's what.
It's
But
right
I mean,
here.
it comes
It
up
was
in the
instilled
upbringing,
in us,
right?
definitely.
It was instilled. But do you feel like right now that you're seeing the fruit of that?
Most definitely. Those 7 floors changed me as a man, as you know.
Yeah.
Those flights to class every day. So, and the connections and the relationships that you build is ongoing. And I was instilled right there in high school. So, started in Rice in 06, graduated in 2010, and the rest is history. I'm here at 30 years old, still giving back, and it was instilled in me, in that building. So I appreciate that experience.
Where do you see things going for you in the future?
Well, I definitely want to, expand both nonprofits that I have, Darnell Cares and Hungry for Change NYC. I definitely just want to expand with that and see where it takes me. Like, the opportunity is endless. Sky's definitely not the limit. I want to go above and beyond that.
Yeah. A lot of people think about entering the not-for-profit sector, but for you, it wasn't a hard thing to do, huh?
Not at all, not at all. And I'm also a member of a fraternity, so a lot of people think like, oh, this is your reason for giving back, but this goes, way beyond that. I was into turkey drives and giving back to the community, as young as middle school, so it was definitely instilled in me from along.
You better shout out your fraternity. So
yeah, definitely. I'm a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay.
Yeah, I went over at Delaware State University.
Okay.
So, I love my HBCU, and, that was just a blessing in itself. And I continued there. I was SGA vice president, definitely involved in men's council at my school. So this is just Darnell. This is what you're gonna get.
Exactly. It is a beautiful thing because I think so many times we look for other avenues, right? You have different career paths, and to see somebody go into the not-for-profit career path, philanthropical, right? It's rare.
Very.
And so for you as an African-American male, what are you hoping that other people will be able to take from that?
I want them to just be inspired. Take a step. Just do it. If you don't know when to start, research, definitely reach out to me. We can speak. I don't know it all, but, we can work through this together. So, just be inspired, take the step, and don't let anything stop you.
Yeah. Darnell, I got to leave it there, but, man, thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Daren.
Before we get out of here, I'm going to make sure to let the people know how they can follow you and get
Definitely.
connected, all right?
All right, appreciate it.
All right. If you want to reach the fellow Rice man, we got to plug Rice High School as much as we can on the show. You can follow him on social media at Darnell Cares. And guess what? Don't go anywhere. We've got more open right after this. We'll be right back.
STEM is everywhere. Like here, behind the scenes of The Walking Dead.
When we break down clothes, we tumble it with trisodium phosphate, rock salt, and dish detergent.
We stitched together images of our model and created a 3D set that can be walked through in a VR headset.
We're able to turn 12 walkers into 1,000 walker horde.
STEM can create new worlds on and off the screen. What will you make with STEM? Get inspired at shecanstem.com.
And welcome back. Our next guest has lived a life of pain, near-death experiences, and traumas on many levels. And after going into healthcare systems for treatment, was left still suffering as well as struggling. He's created a series bringing awareness to the experiences, hard realities, and trauma coming from pain and how the pain leads to suicidal tendencies. Joining me now is the founder and president of Scudder Intervention Services Foundation. We've got Brett A. Scudder, I should say. We've had him on the show several times, and glad to have him back. And Brett, good to have you. And this time of year is really a rough time of the year for a lot of people. We see people celebrate the holidays, but the holidays from another perspective can be quite painful and traumatic for some others.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here. I think a lot of times we put so much emphasis on this being a happy time of year for people. Where the Christmas, Thanksgiving, all these different holidays are in towards the ends of the year. And what we're forgetting is that there are a lot of people who are struggling, still in pain, suffering from pain, different experiences of pain. And it's not a happy or celebratory time for them. And so they are struggling, sometimes suffering in silence with mental health challenges, life challenges, and we are overlooking those people until they become a statistic of a completed suicide.
So we sit here and we talk about pain management. I know that you got a pain management series, how to manage the pain, and you come from personal experience. Talk about how that pain can be so overwhelming in a person's life.
So I started this series because, yes, we need to look at pain through a different lens. We can talk about trauma, we can talk about domestic violence, violence, community violence, these different things. But we really need to look at pain from an experience, a personal, intimate experience, and what that pain looks like and feels like for the person who's going through it. And so the pain management series, every month, I touch on different topics regarding pain, the experiences of pain for people who are living with pain, experiencing pain, to know how to take care of themselves. Self care is very important, but also seeking help, but also other ways of managing pain through non clinical ways or non pharmaceutical ways. I think a lot of times when we look at pain, a lot of people run to pain management for treatment, but we have to start looking within ourselves as people are experiencing pain as what are the tools we have when there is no help, no support, or the treatments that we're being provided is not helping. And that's what the pain management series looks like. The physical and the psychological impacts of pain, how to take care of yourself while you experiencing that pain, and different types of treatment modalities are available.
I know one of the things we also discuss is suicide, because that's a number that continues to rise. We're seeing more and more people actually taking their life, and it runs the gamut. You could have finances, you could be broke, you could have a good career, you could be in entertainment, or you could just be right around the way. Talk to us about why are we finding more and more people taking their lives during this time?
Well, I mean, you touched on some of those things. Finances, the socioeconomic, 85% of the people that we see at the Scudder Intervention Services Foundation and the Suicide Institute who are in pain are people who have pain from an intimate relationship, a broken heart from an intimate relationship. A lot of people are struggling right now financially. A lot of people are struggling with family dynamics that are unhealthy, toxic relationships, both in the workplace and in their personal, intimate lives. We have a lot of youth right now who are thinking of and attempting suicide because they're depressed and they're feeling isolated. They've lost connections to, people and resources that they used to have. We look at the pandemic, 3 years now, we're still seeing um, remnants of the pandemic that are affecting our lives. So pain comes from a lot of different places in a lot of different ways for people. And so it's not just seeing someone with a broken arm or broken leg or someone who's bleeding and we think that, oh, that wound is hurting. We have to start thinking about pain from a psychological perspective. What is causing this pain and what levels of pain is this person experiencing? Is the pain controlling the person or is the person controlling the pain? And so when we understand the difference between physical and psychological pain, we will realize that a lot of people are in physical pain, but they're still able to think coherently. They're still able to function and be highly efficient. There are a lot of people who are in psychological pain who are disabled physically and psychologically by that pain. And so they're incoherent, they're not thinking rationally, the pain is controlling them, and sometimes that pain can lead to violence against self harm, violence against others, and harm against others. We really need to start looking at and understanding what pain is for people because it's different for everyone. And is pain controlling people or is people controlling their pain?
Yeah. When we talk about this pain, obviously it's an unbearable pain for too many people. Can you give us some insight for a person that may be having a family member, friend, somebody, coworker, who's going through this? What advice do you give somebody who may be connected to somebody but don't know how to get the right resources to them?
Well, the first thing we need to do, Daren, is just listen. I think a lot of times people, and I hear people say it all the time, well, Mr. Scudder, I'm not a clinician. I don't have training to be a clinician, so I can't help this person, my family member, or my loved one. But it's all about being connected. People want to be connected to someone who they can share their pain with. And you don't have to have the answer. You don't have to have an answer or have a solution. What people look for in connectedness is someone that they can share how they're feeling and that person listens, right? So in listening to that person, giving them an opportunity to express their pain, the reasons why they're in pain, is their pain something they can manage or is the pain overwhelming for them? And so as you listen to your loved one, your partner, your child, your coworker, whatever, make that connectedness be one of, you don't have to have the answers, and you don't have to be a clinical person to know that someone is in pain and they really just want to express how they're feeling.
Trying to get the help that you need is really the most important thing, right? I think we try to help people get to that place, but not being able to listen, that's very important too, right? There's so many people who are being, felt like they're not being heard. And I think that one of the things that we're talking about today is that this pain is somewhat manageable if you have the right person connected. Can you give a word of advice before we go to people about being that bridge and being that sounding board, and how important that could just be in somebody's healing and help?
Yeah, so listen, don't think that because someone is in pain that they're not able to manage that pain. We have to remember that sometimes someone's pain could be over a long period of time, that they have been able to keep that pain at bay and not have that pain overwhelm them. So just because the person is now coming forward to share with you that they're in pain or what their experience of pain is, doesn't mean that you're going to take their strength away or take the power that they have. And that's one of the big things that we are misconstruing about pain, is that when someone shares their pain or when someone is in pain, we feel that they're helpless, they cannot manage the pain. And so because we're not listening carefully, we take the power away from them, and now we put them in more vulnerable positions by either trying to institutionalize them, trying to forcefully put them into treatment programs. And so being that bridge is simply about being connected to someone who listens and allows you to. And then ask permission. Now that you have shared with me this pain that you're going through, would you like me to find some additional help for us so that we can work through this pain together?
Yeah.
It's not saying to the person that you need to go seek help or you need to find help. It's asking, how can we together, now that you've trusted me as someone that you're connected with, how can we together find the help for you that will be meaningful?
Brett, you gave some real insightful tips, and hopefully people will take advantage of listening and some of the other things that we can do to possibly be a difference maker in somebody's life. Thank you so much for taking the time with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity. And just remember, 988 is a new number to call for not just suicide, but if someone is feeling overwhelmed, stressed out, just dealing with a lot of issues, they can call 988. And our local number here in the city, where we provide 24/7 response as well, is 917-651-1889.
All righty. And I want to let you know, if you want more information, visit the website at sisfi.org, and then follow them on social media at SISFI. And of course, we encourage you to don't go anywhere. We got more open coming up right after this.
You can now watch MNN, Brick TV, QPTV, and SIC TV on BronxNet. Tune in to BX Omni, Channel 67 Optimum, 2133 Fios during most Sunday evenings. We'll show you some amazing content from our friends at Manhattan Neighborhood Network, Brick TV in Brooklyn, Queens Public Television, and Staten Island Community Television. Every borough represented in the Boogie Down. Epic partnerships for the ages. And catch our new Next channel, produced in partnership with MNN, 24/7 on BronxNet Channel 952 Optimum and 2138 Fios.
And we are back. An expression of absence is an exhibit exploring the ways photography conjures absence to represent time, memory, disappearance, loss, and erasure. And joining me now to share more is Lebanese interdisciplinary artist and curator of an expression of absence exhibition. We've got Rola Khayyat, and then we've got documentary photographer and visual teller Rehab Eldalil. And I thank you so much for joining us. I think I got it kind of close. Did I do all right?
Very close.
All right, that's
Yeah,
good.
great
So
job.
we can start now. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I want to talk a little bit about an expression of absence. And for people who don't know, give us a little bit more about this, Rola.
Of course. First of all, thank you for having us. It's great to be here. So An Expression of Absence is a curatorial show that was curated by myself and another Lebanese curator called Roy Saadi, who actually is a photographer and photo book designer, and he's also a fellow, a former fellow of the Arab Documentary Program. And the show was highlighting 15 projects from the Arab Documentary Program, which is a program funded by the Magnum Foundation and AFAQ, which is the Arab Fund for Arts and Culture, and the Prince Claus Fund. And it was a collaboration between Magnum Foundation and the Bronx Documentary Center. The 15 projects were highlighting issues surrounding the notion of absence and absence through photography. We were looking at absence as time as in the passage of time through landscape, the changes in time, looking at the sort of vestiges of colonialism, post-colonialism, global extractivism, you know, the effects of different timescapes on the landscape. We were looking at it also in terms of memory. You know, given the current situation in the Middle East, there's a lot of dislocation. There's a lot of, you know, situations of exile. There's situations of feeling, you know, being a refugee or being forced to flee your home, sometimes against your will, sometimes, you know, willingly because you don't feel like you belong. So we were looking at memory as a way of activating this sense of belonging, and belonging being this in-between space, this space that exists between belonging to a physical place or belonging somewhere internally, in the internal landscape. And lastly, the last, you know, segment of this theme was looking at projects that deal with colonial erasure. And by here, we're really looking back into the distant past and this idea of inherited histories. We all come from a place, and the place has changed over time. And what do you make of, you know, your personal history? How can you tell your own story through archives, through you know, documents, and through official records?
So let me bring Rehab in and talk a little about photography and your part in this. And so, as a photographer, talk about your part.
Well, I participated in the ADPP program to work on a very personal project about my Bedouin heritage, which sort of elevated when I started to discuss the topic with the Bedouin community in south of Sinai in Egypt about what it means to belong. And the project sort of developed to be something more about, you know, seeking belonging and the whole questioning of what it means to belong and our connection to the land. And for those of us who either by choice or by force has to be distant from their land, what does that mean, and how does that define our identity? So it was a process to develop my project, and it was great to participate in this exhibition because it really, you know, works with the same theme of my project. And eventually, the project that I worked on became a collaboration with the Bedouin community. So in the exhibition, Rola and Roy had decided to exhibit the embroidered photographs that I made with the female Bedouin women to be hung so that it would sort of simulate the idea of embroidery and hence celebrate the collaboration process and the Bedouin identity.
Pretty exciting. And so let's talk about this here from a perspective of seeing it and how people can see more information. I will see it and get an opportunity to visualize this. What do they do?
About the experience of walking through the exhibition and how people responded to the works?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, curating, I'm going to backtrack a bit. And curating the show was done virtually. Both Roy and I aren't based in the US. Roy is in Montreal, and I was in Qatar. So we really had to think of the space as an actual physical space, and we had to sort of make 3D renderings and just visualize the walkthrough virtually. And then when it came to the installation process, it was actually quite an experience for us to experience it in person. We made an effort we didn't want the photographs to be framed. We didn't want any kind of hierarchy to exist in terms of how the works would be laid out in the space. We worked very collaboratively with the photographers. We introduced our vision and then had a give and take with them and asked for their sort of preference and how they wanted their works to be experienced. So each body of work was really laid out very differently. Some were blown up in scale, some were made very small and intimate. And it just gave off a very different experience to each particular, project. And walking through the space we were going through, in a way, we scattered the themes around. You know how we had divided them into 3 main points, but we went also by the color schemes of the works so that they could go from like darkness into light and vice versa. We also looked at if you had like a repetition of landscapes, we would add one project in between that could disrupt this flow so that you can kind of wake up again and see a project in a new light. It was received really well. I think it raised a lot of curiosity. It gave enough sort of visual stimulation to invite people to want to research the topics, to ask questions, to really seek out what the issues that were being put forward were.
And Rehab, before we get a chance to get out of here, I want to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about people having an opportunity to see your work and how that can take place.
What do you mean, in the exhibition itself or in general?
Both.
Okay. Well, it's for me it was great to have the work exhibited in USA within this exhibition, because the whole target is to try to create a dialogue about the indigenous experience and about how people in the West see indigenous communities, especially the Bedouin community in North Africa and the Middle East. So that was amazing. And hopefully I'll be able to exhibit the work more within the same context and hopefully create this dialogue between, the Western audience and the Bedouin community to discuss more about the indigenous experience at large.
I think it's a great conversation that needs to be had, and certainly your work can definitely speak to that. So thank you both for being with us. Congratulations, and we'll hopefully get a chance to see you soon.
Thank you, Daren.
Thank you.
Thank you. All righty. Well, listen, I want to let you know if you want more information, what you can do is visit the website at bronxdoc.org, and there you can find all the information that you need to know. I want to let you know we've come to the end of our show today. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us, and most of all, you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the Recablecast on Optimum Channel 67. If you have Verizon Files, that's Channel 2133, or anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. You can also catch a brand new episode of Open with Rita Valentine on Friday. This wraps up this episode. I'm Daren Jaime. Make sure to keep this channel wide open. Say take care. God bless.